You're listening to the Our Erie podcast with Marty Nwachukwu,
Lydia, Laythe,
and Davona Pacley.
This series will bring citizens, entrepreneurs, activists, politicians, artists, and thought leaders to the table for a frank discussion around societal issues facing our post-industrial city and the United States at large. Take a seat.
Cafe 710 is the newest project that I'm working on, and we have a small cafe in downtown Erie. The reason that we decided to have the cafe is actually a gift to my mom, and the name 710, like 710 is actually her birthday. So I thought about how do I schedule my mom into my weekly regimen. So I thought if I created a business that she would have to show up to and that I would also show up to, that would be the best way to do it. My mom actually has a passion for cooking, and most recently she's really fell in love with baking. So I used to spend all of my downtime in different cafes, all the cafes around town, specifically like Barnes and Noble. And I thought if I mesh those two passions together by opening our own cafe, it just makes sense that I can spend time with my mom. We can bounce ideas off each other and then also make some money while doing those things together. So as you guys probably can hear, I really love my mom. So
That's so awesome.
I went down to visit the space, checked it out, and decided like we can make something happen here. Our current location used to be like a soap shop, so she had a totally different vision. So I came in, checked out the different paints. The name of the paint that I even picked out is called Baker's Bread, and that's one of my mom's signature products is a baker's bread. So everything just fell together very nicely, like very pleasantly. Even the person that we work with, the people that helped us to get started, even the individual that helped to create our space, like bring my vision to life. And then when I was able to bring my mom down for her first tour of the space, she's like, "Oh, you're not just talking about this cafe, you're really going to do something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Mom, I just want to make sure this space is going to work for you." So she said yes, signed paperwork, and we've been going ever since.
That just filled my heart so much, like, because that just felt so divine. And I really want to go back to that story because I think that's super important. Because I really personally want to start with even just you saying that you wanted to start this, like, that's a process. So even beginning, did you put that down on paper? Like what were those, some of the steps that you felt got you to the point where you're at now?
So I have been blessed to be around business people my entire life. My mom is an entrepreneur, so we've always had a business of some type, specifically for the probably over 25, now 35 years, we've always had a fitness and health business. So I've always known like the platform and the basics about getting started with a business. This is a new sector. We're actually the first African-American coffee shop in town.
Mm-hmm.
So as I told you before, I've been spending all my time in cafes. So I've been, in a sense, studying the atmosphere. As a martial artist, I received my black belt in May of 1997. So I learned to be in tune with the atmosphere no matter where I am at all times. So not even when I started to visit cafes, my purpose or intention was not to ever open one. I just enjoyed the atmosphere, the space. What I noticed specifically about Barnes and Noble is I never really saw many African American or any diverse or other cultures there that reflected myself. So at that point, I started to decide, like, how can I create a space, a space that would welcome people that I don't see here. I'm in a coffee shop. I'm in a place where people are enjoying baked goods, and I'm surrounded by information. Like, that's where everyone needs to be. So even though our cafe is small right now, like, my vision is to make it a larger place. And my larger vision is to have an inner city cafe that would really be catered towards the needs of all cultures.
I love
That's
that.
super cool.
I love that.
How about you, ladies?
You're called a cafe, but I feel like what makes you stand out amongst all the other cafes in town are your baked goods that are so delicious. I regularly get the banana peanut butter and chocolate bread. Is that what you call it?
Yes, you're gonna get rewarded by my mom for saying the combination correct.
I did.
Wow.
Oh my god! I've had it enough times. I better.
So that's funny that you would say that. So even the first article that we had, like by the Times News, like they categorized us as bakery. So yes, we are known for the description even on our business card is extraordinary baked goods. So that is like our main thing and coffee is definitely in the background. So our goal was to serve extraordinary made from scratch baked goods that were made with love and served with a smile. So we learned about coffee because we're not actually coffee drinkers in the midst of having the bake shop. So the bakery really is, in front, and that is our highlight and our specialty.
I love that. I love that.
We're gonna say it a lot, but if you have not been there to get anything baked, you need to go correct yourself now.
Yeah.
Go get some baked goods.
I got mine today.
So my mom's been baking her entire life. Literally, my grandma used to bake pies and all different kinds of stuff for the church. And my mom was right there with her during that period of time. I think my mom said she started running the church kitchen at the age of 12, like herself. She was in charge and she would teach like the older women how to make some of these things that, her mom has taught her. And or my grandma didn't have to be by herself because she did a lot of work for the church, but my grandma had 10 boys and 5 girls to raise at home with my grandpa, so they had a very large family, but she believed in the importance of helping the church, like the extension of your family. And I believe that was seeded into my mom, and then through my mom that has led to me, like on a different in a different way and on a different scale. Like we believe in the importance of just taking care of community, because we're not just meant here to take care of ourselves. Like it's all about helping other people.
Gosh, you can say that again. I mean, such a great message, but I also feel like sometimes so lacking, especially from like entrepreneurs. And I don't mean that like negative. Sometimes I think when people get into business, they can lose sight of like why they get started. And so that's really cool to hear. Kind of those roots.
And that makes sense, because what I'm hearing too, Mabel, is from, the perspective of really wanting to honor your mother in this. And I really admire that, because we're in a time where women are on the forefront of so many things, like social change, community. And hearing you say that you starting this space, and you started this space in honor of your mother, it brings me to tears, because of course we really need to honor our parents, and honoring our mothers it's super important, because they are the matriarch and they are what's continuing on. You're continuing on that tradition that you can pass on, like you said, to the community, and that you can pass on to your family. So I admire that, because it's real deep when you think about it. You have a purpose, and your business has a purpose. And I feel like businesses that have purpose like that, like which with Lydia's talking about, it's going to make it flourish, and it's going to make it just like, you staying in your lane, and you're staying with what's true to you. And I appreciate that. It feels good. It feels very good.
Thank you very much.
So then can you tell us a little bit more about the other things? So we know you do 1,000 things in the community. It doesn't just stop here.
Right.
So like, can you tell us a little bit more?
Yes. So I am, where should I head next?
Wait, first off, are you from Erie? I mean, what about you? Because we're talking about your mother, we're talking about your space. So
sorry, I can't help it.
Let's talk about you. Yes. So, are you from Erie? Like where, you know what I'm saying? That's my
yes. So we're one of the largest families in Erie. So yes, I am from Erie. I've been here my whole life, and I've only visited like 2 major places. I've been in New York City and to California. I moved to California, and I worked with my uncle, Billy Blanks. He's the creator of Tybo.
Yes, so I know Billy Blanks.
And worked with him for an entire summer. My uncle wanted me to come and stay there because at that point, like health and wellness was my only sector. Like everything that I dealt with around that point in my life was health and wellness. And that's actually up until very recently. But what I learned about some of those other places is there's no place like home. So I know what it's like to be in a place like at a business where everyone that walks through the door is a millionaire. And I know what it feels like to work in a space where everyone that walks through the door is not able to pay for services. And it's always been like within my heart to work for people that come through the door that aren't able to pay for services when it came to health and wellness. One of those reasons is because it's always been a door that was open for me. Like I never had to worry about how to pay for martial arts lessons, how to pay for aerobics or Taekwondo classes. Like I never had to worry about those things because they were provided to me. One, because my mom was the instructor, but two, because everyone should have access to health, like access to having a healthy and active lifestyle. So my mom and I have spent, actually in 1992, May of 92, my mom opened a gym on the Lower West Side. And I was 14 at the time. My mom got really sick within a year of the business. And I had to learn to take over the business at a very young age. So like at the age of 14, I would go to school and head to cheerleading practice. And then right from there, I had to head right to the studio and figure out how to teach Taekwondo and fitness and all the classes my mom was offering. She was teaching at that point, step aerobics, and then she started like cardio aerobics. Like before Taibo came officially to the market, she started karate and aerobics together here in Erie. So I had to figure out how to make things happen, keep the clients coming, and just keep my mom motivated and knowing that she would become, healthier and able to do all the things that she did before she was not able during that downtime. So I've always had access. My mom always showed like open doors, like when people come in and they're not able to afford or pay for things, then you're supposed to help because you're just sharing your gift. Yeah. So my mom showed me that. I've always seen that. So it's just it's very natural for me, almost like breathing, I would say. Like just take care of people because you are always going to be taken care of because you're doing that.
Ooh, yes.
So.
Yes.
Ooh, I love that.
Reciprocity.
Yeah, like and the law of attraction, or like just like
Yes.
that idea of like you're putting good things out into the world and it's going to come back to you. And
yes,
that's powerful.
I like that. And not always having to look at the dollar. I like that. And also, I think in communities, I like the idea of barter and trade. So like, trading your gifts. So at this point, like I feel like that's also a trading of gifts in that sort you've been cultivating in your space. So I think we need to be bringing that back. I know everybody's worried about the dollar, but I'm down with like even sharing, like you're doing Taibo, like share something else with me, a class, or I don't know. I think that we should bring that back.
Yes, we should totally, like if ever, because obviously everyone was born with a gift of some type. If everyone was willing to, like you said, just trade in or make it like, if there was even a space that people could actually come to just for their gift and share it with the community based on interest, like everyone would be rewarded. You would have the opportunity to do something that you love, and then you'd be able to reach people that are looking for exactly what you offer. So it'd just be a beautiful thing.
Yes.
When we talked earlier today, we were talking about the gift of like warmth and protection from the cold. To tell the folks about the thing you've been doing for the last few years with the gloves and now the socks.
Yes. So switching over to another hat. So I'm the executive director of Bethany Outreach Center. So Bethany Outreach Center is a nonprofit organization in Erie that focuses on servicing the Lower East Side neighborhoods. And our mission is literally to provide hope to people in need. The three sectors that I've fine-tuned our services to are food. So we have a food pantry, clothing, and then education with an emphasis on literacy. So with that in mind, it's important for any business or nonprofit to stay in the news. So I know you guys know about that based on podcasts and what you have a passion for, but the importance of staying in the news to let people know what you're doing, what people need, and how they can help. So I came up with the glove drive, like a couple a few years ago, this is year 3. So 3 years ago, I started a campaign called Got Gloves. And I used to go to the different schools, just the kids that are walking by the center. You literally see kids with no gloves or one glove, or just wondering what's happening. And I walk through Dollar Tree because it's one of my favorite stores. And I look at the gloves that they have, and I'm often just buying gloves. They're $1 and they're also comfortable. So I always wear Dollar Tree gloves. And I'm thinking, like, every week, what if I bought like 5 pair of gloves every week? Because a lot of people waste money, but so $5 is really nothing. But what if I bought 5 pair of gloves every single week and then just passed them out to kids and families that just don't have them? And then I thought about, let me ask some of my friends to do the same thing. So I just challenged myself to, like, let's cover 1,000 pairs of hands, like year 1. And then, like, the news got wind of what I was doing, along with some of the private schools, and they wanted to know how they could help. So it was easy to make my 1,000 pairs of hands goal. So I thought, year 2, I got a phone call from the Times News, and they wanted to know, like, how can we help you with your glove drive? Like, before I even started the glove drive, they were reaching out to me. So I'm like, so what I said to them is, last year I asked for 1,000 pair of gloves, but I know you have an incredible reach, so I'm gonna increase that to 2,000. So it's been amazing. Like, people want to help other people. They just want to know, how can they help?
Yes.
So I feel as if I'm like that. I'm the middle person. Like, I connect the haves with the have-nots, and then I bring them together to a happy place. Like, the people that maybe donate money or gloves to me, like, they may never meet the people that are benefiting from it, but I'm able to be the voice of the community that's not able to ask for help, and I'm able to tell their story with enough compassion to convince people to want to help. So that's the beginning of the Got Gloves campaign, and why I'll continue that on forever. The goal is to eventually cover all the hands of every family and individual that is in need. So I will increase every single year. As far as the socks campaign, that's something new that came to me. So I used to watch Shark Tank. Like, are you guys lovers of Shark Tank?
Oh my gosh, yes, I love Shark Tank.
Okay, so I've been watching Shark Tank since the first episode. Like, I'm like
Wow,
a fan of Shark Tank. So on Shark Tank, that used to be like my Friday night thing with me and a very close friend of mine. And we used to watch Shark Tank every Friday, have food, and then he would like ask me questions, like kind of question me throughout the show, like how would I present like my case to them when it's my opportunity, which is coming soon, ladies. So thank you. So on there, I saw Bombas, this campaign, like someone introduced, like their goal was to create these socks. So they created these socks, but their mission was, it's buy a pair, give a pair. So it's buy a pair, give a pair to a person in need, specifically to people that live in homelessness, because socks are the #1 item that's asked for every shelter. So this group, like the Bombas inventors, came up with this. And then the moment I watched that show, I'm like, I'm going to work with those guys one day. So I'm like, not only am I going to work with them directly, but I'm going to do something similar to what they're doing. So now I am personally working with them directly. I received my first donation of 3,250 pairs of socks to contribute to the community. And the goal is just to keep getting bigger and better. Like today I'm working at the cafe, and one of my friends from Facebook, like that, I hadn't seen them in years because I met them from the health and wellness field, but she's like, I've been watching you on Facebook and seeing all the stuff that you're doing. She's like, so I woke up today, went shopping, and she had these 2 giant bags of socks and also gloves for me. So she's like, I want to help in any way that I can. And then, so I get those kind of phone calls all the time. So it's not about like helping me directly, but it's just knowing that I can help this girl that's been helping people the whole time, and not feel good about it, that they're doing something good, but like do it from their heart. They're doing it from the heart. I'm doing it from the heart. And then we all know that we're really helping people with the, it's the very basic essentials, but it's things that people really need. So
yeah.
That's all about the one.
Yes, I love that. That's congratulations. And I did see that episode, and yes, and so that's dope. And I was gonna say something else, but I'm like floored actually at this point. I don't. That's good.
What is it you call it? Manifesting it? You said you're gonna work with them, and then look where you are now.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
amazing.
I love that word, manifest, because I really love like the power like of words, speak things into existence. Like I feel and believe that's what you guys did with this podcast.
Yes.
And like you probably thought like, what are the right people to bring together so we can put, mesh in different ways. And like I feel like that energy when I'm speaking with you guys and learning more about you and getting to know you through the podcast.
Yes.
So yeah, I totally believe in manifest, and it's actually manifesting with words. It's something that I do every morning. Like I post something positive for the community in a few different sectors because people receive information differently.
Yes.
So I intentionally start my day that way and also end it the same way. So
man, just talking to you and everyone else, I feel like my life is going to change. I'm going to take that and try to practice it. I'm really bad about creating new habits, but that's amazing. That sounds really powerful.
You can totally do it. You can totally do it.
Yeah. What powerful tips. Well, okay, how else can we be more like you, Mabel?
I feel like you guys are already on the way. Like when I met every single one of, I didn't get to meet you, Lydia, in person, but I feel like I'm getting to know you right now.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you guys are already like on a path. Like you are doing something with social media, which is the fastest way to reach people. And I think like people, like you guys said, like women are leading the way. Like we've been leading the way the entire time, but now we're getting a little more and more recognition with leading the way. So my main thing is when preparedness reaches, meets opportunity, like great things happen. So I feel like even that with you guys asking me to be a part of this podcast and interview with you, like iron sharpens iron. So I feel like you're going to learn something from me as the same I'm learning something from you just from speaking with you. So you're already headed on the way. I do believe in planning. I believe in speaking positivity. I believe in speaking exactly what you want. Like nobody knows exactly what you want better than you. So when you speak exactly what you want and then you're willing to put it on paper, like that's the next step. Like put it on paper and then read it out loud so you can hear yourself say, this is what I want. And then you have to think about what actions do I have to take in order to make this happen.
Girl, you better say it. I can relate. I'm sure all can relate, but I could definitely relate because I didn't realize that until putting stuff down in my journal. And then things I go back and look at, I've accomplished in some way where it's not necessarily exactly what I thought it was going to look like, but it was definitely, so I feel that. That's deep. I'm sitting here like in awe.
No, but it's huge. And I feel like so many people are afraid to make that first step though, right? So that really honest statement of what you want or what you see for yourself, especially I think as women too. Like we're taught to like, I don't know, not reach as assertively or as far as we want and to have like, I don't know, more realistic goals or more moderate goals. And that when we reach, for the top, we're like reaching too far. But I think, be honest.
Yes. And so the real honest part about that is like knowing what you love. I feel like don't sign yourself up for something that you don't love to do because you're going to be stuck doing it every single day of your life. So if you can align the things that you love with something that you're going to be stuck doing, like a job, then you know that 40 hours a week that you'll be doing something that you love. And then you can figure out what will I do with the rest of my time, which is hopefully opening your own business. And if that's not the first thing that you chose, so it'd be opening your second business and then continuing on figuring out like who you want to help, like the specific group that you want to help. Like I enjoy youth. Like I have a passion for helping youth because I think it's important to build leaders when they're very young.
Yes.
Because if you have like a group of maybe 3 or 4 kids, like there's a leader in that group, if not all 4 of them being leaders, but there's always going to be one person that's a natural leader. So just the importance of really like seeding into them, telling them that you believe in them. Like, you can do this, like, and putting them in the position where they actually lead those other 3 people that are in the group, where they're naturally like becoming the leader that they were born to be.
You've been listening to the Our Erie podcast, the voice of reason in the fog of post-industrial America. Next week, we're going to talk about self-care and how we've been managing stress and living life during quarantine. Continue the conversation on Facebook /Our Erie Series. This podcast is produced by John C. Lyons, Marty Nwachukwu, Davona, Pacley, and Lydia Laythe. Funding provided by Erie Arts and Culture. Music by Corey Cook. We appreciate you for listening to Our Erie podcast. Peace.